Element of weather or climate. We have 7 elements of weather and climate. The first one is temperature, humidity, precipitation, wind, pressure, cloud, and sunshines. And most of this element of weather will be described in detail so as to make understanding to the learners as it's supposed to be. Temperature. Temperature is the degree of hotness and the coldness of the substance. And the element of weather is like to the element of climate. And the temperature, this is the degree of coldness or hotness of the substance or object. For instance, you can feel a bird or someone wherever she or he is high temperature or low temperature, because even human being is a substance or an object. Temperature distribution. And wherever we are talking about distribution, this is the spreading of temperature from one place to another. And the temperature of one place is different to another area. For instance, the area of Arusha is slightly different from Kigoma or from Mbeya. Temperature distribution is the temperature differ from one area to another and from one period to another. Because the temperature of an area, either in terms of hotness or coldness, is just determined according to different period of the year or of different seasons of the year or according to place to place. For instance, the temperature of July is different from December, or the temperature of Mwanza is slightly different from the temperature of Singida. We have to describe types of temperature. Temperature is categorized into 2 parts. The first one is spatial temperature distribution and temporal temperature distribution. What is the meaning of spatial temperature distribution? This is the spreading of temperature according to different regions or places. For instance, the temperature of Dar es Salaam is usually high temperature than the temperature of Arusha most of the time. Or the temperature of Dar es Salaam is slightly different from the temperature of Khartoum in Sudan, because in Sudan or in Khartoum is usually high temperature than the temperature of Dar es Salaam. This is due to the difference in places or regions. Dear students, let's describe factors that influence the temperature, or factor or components influencing temperature. According to description of temperature, this is the degree of hotness or coldness of the substance or object. Therefore, the temperature of particular area is varying or is different according to the following factors. First factor is latitude. Latitude refers to the angular distance measured north and south of the equator. Therefore, the temperature of particular area, it will be different according to the latitude. For instance, the temperature which is nearby the equator or at the latitude nearby the equator will be with high temperature rather than the temperature of polar regions or latitude which is far away from the equator. Therefore, the temperature which is located nearby the equator is assumed to be with high temperature than the temperature which will be far away from the equator. Another factor that influencing or component of influencing temperature is altitude. The term altitude is likely to the height. And wherever there is a mountainous or hill in a particular area, as you go high, there is a decrease of temperature. For instance, lapse rate. As you go high, there is a decrease of temperature by 0.6 degrees centigrade per 100 meter. Therefore, the area which is nearby the sea level is high to be with high temperature than the area which is high or to the top or to the summit of mountains. The third one is the length of day and night. When the earth is revolving or rotating on its axis, is rotating from west to east. But there is some times whereby the day is assumed with high lengths or high time rather than the night time. For instance, when the day is having with high or long period of time than the night time, therefore the daytime will be experiencing more temperature than the day, which will be experienced with a low short period of time. Another factor that influences the temperature is the aphelion and the perihelion. Aphelion, these are distance of the earth from the sun. Wherever the earth will be farthest from the sun, therefore even the temperature will be high. Wherever the earth will be farthest from the sun, therefore even will experience low temperature. But the perihelion, this is the distance, or this is the station of the earth which is closer or nearby the sun. And wherever the earth will be nearby the sun, will experience more temperature and will be having with high temperature than the area which is far away from the sun. Another factor is continental or distance from the sea. The area which is nearby the sea is experiencing with high temperature because of sunshine or radiation which is hitting the water bodies. Wherever the water bodies will be observing some radiation, therefore will be experiencing high temperature than the area which is very far away from the sea. Another one is aspect. Aspect, this is the position of the sun. For instance, the sun is rising from east. Therefore, wherever there is a mountainous or hill, and there is a rising of the sun, in the eastern parts will be observing the sun and will be with high temperature than the area of western parts, whereby there is acting as the obstacle. But wherever the sun or the earth will be revolving to another side or to the mid of the mountainous, will be the sun taking place to all parts, eastern or western parts. But the sun wherever will be shining to the western parts, therefore even the eastern parts will be with no any heat. Therefore in western parts will be experiencing with high temperature than the area of eastern parts, which was experiencing high temperature during the morning time. But during evening time, the area of western parts will be experiencing with high temperature than the area of eastern parts. Another factor is scattering and absorption or insolation. Insolation is the incoming of sun rays on the surface. As I told you that at the layer of stratosphere, there is characteristic with the ozone layer. Ozone layer, this is the place whereby there is absorption of sun rays. Therefore, wherever this area will be scattering enough, therefore even the temperature will be low indeed. But wherever the scattering will be, if the scattering is not so high, therefore the direct penetration of sun rays will be high and cause for high temperature. But absorption, this refers to the taking of some rays either by using ozone layers. For instance, if the ozone layer will be stable, for instance, I have not yet to be decided with the chemicals, for instance, chlorofluorocarbon, carbon dioxide, methane, therefore the absorption will be highly and cause for the low temperature because there is no any penetration. but wherever the ozone layer will be distracted, will cause for high penetration of sun rays up to the Earth's surface and cause for high temperature. Hence, the high temperature or temperature is depending on the factor of absorption or scattering. Another one is ocean current as the factor. Ocean currents, these are the movement of water from different oceans. And you have to remember that our oceans is consist of cold ocean currents, or warm ocean current. When the ocean currents will be cold in nature, even the winds or air which is moving from cold areas will be rising to another parts and the cause for the low temperature, because the wind or the air where is come from is from the area of cold in nature. But when the ocean current will be warm in nature as the ocean currents, therefore even the movement of air will be warm in nature because it has come from to the area of warm ocean current. For instance, warm ocean current is Mozambique, but cold ocean current is Banguela. Therefore, to be determined with high temperature or temperature is depending on the ocean current. If it is cold ocean current, therefore will be with low temperature. But when the ocean current will be warm in nature, therefore will be with high temperature. Another factor is cloudy. Cloudy, this is the element of weather, whereby this is taking place due to the particles of water vapor rising up and to be concentrated or saturate to each other. Wherever the condensation or the formation of cloud will be higher in nature, hence will be avoiding high penetration of radiation or penetration of sun rays onto the Earth's surface. And wherever will be low penetration of sun rays will cause with low temperature. But when the cloud formation will be low in nature, or the concentration is low, therefore even the sun rays or radiation will be penetrated to the Earth's surface deeply and cause for the high temperature. The last one is prevailing wind. Prevailing wind, this is the kind of wind whereby is moving frequently and are very destructive. Therefore, when the wind is deflecting from one place to another, can cause for the temperature to be happening. For instance, if the prevailing wind is prolonging or deflecting from the area of high temperature, therefore even the area which is going to the area of destination will be taking the warm condition. But when the wind or the prevailing wind will be moving from the area of low temperature, even the destination area will be with low temperature. In temperature, there is a certain weight or subtopic called insolation. Insolation means incoming of solar radiation, and this incoming of sun radiation consists of three processes. This is scattering, absorption, transmission. Scattering is when the sun is rising from the solar interplanetary, is coming to the Earth's surface. But before to reach to the Earth's surface, it should be taken or can be absorbed. Absorption, this can be absorbed by ozone layer, or by cloud cover. But those rays which penetrate from ozone layer or cloud cover is coming on the Earth's surface through transmission. And the series of the wavelengths of sun rays which reach on the Earth's surface through transmission is called electromagnetic spectrum. For instance, the sun is there from the layer of thermosphere. When this sun is rising, it can pass in terms of scattering. After to be scattered, it should be absorbed. But there is some rays which is penetrating after to be absorbed and pass and to reach to the area of the surface. either have been absorbed by ozone layer or cloud cover. But these rays which reach to the Earth's surface after the absorption or through transmission, this is called electromagnetic spectrum, those rays. Factor influencing the amount of insolation. As I told you that insolation refers to the incoming of sun radiation or sun rays. Therefore, the factor that can affect or influencing solar or affect insolation is likely to the factor that influences temperature. Therefore, you have to refer the point of view. For instance, there is sun position, which is latitude, scattering and absorption, ozone gases, atomic gases, aspect, length of night and day, aphelion and perihelion, reflective capacity of the surface, which is albedo, and the amount of cloud cover. Therefore, you have to refer the point of view. Not only that, but also in temperature, there is a certain weight or subtopic called lapse rate. I told you that lapse rate is taking place to the layer of troposphere. What is the meaning of lapse rate? Again, lapse rate is a geographical term which explains the tendency whereby the temperature tends to decrease with the increase in altitude. The lapse rate is not constant over the surface. It varies. It can be 0.3 degrees centigrade per 100 meter, or can be 0.9 degrees centigrade per 100 meter. Hence, there are two types of lapse rate, which is normal. There is two types of lapse rate, which is normal lapse rate, and adiabatic lapse rate. Normal lapse rate is the average of the temperature change with altitude, either at 0.3 degrees centigrade per 100 meter or 0.9 degrees centigrade per 100 meter as the average. Therefore, wherever you sum up, we get 1.2 degrees centigrade over 2 as the area of low, and the area of high we obtain 0.6, which is the normal. Adiabatic lapse rate is when the temperature falls either below or above the normal lapse rate. And you have to remember that normal lapse rate is come from after the summation or the average of below adiabatic lapse rate, which is 0.3 degrees centigrade, and 0.9 degrees centigrade. Wherever you sum up or you make average, you obtain 0.6 as the normal one. Therefore, adiabatic lapse rate is when the temperature falls either below or above. For instance, this structure, this is 0.6 degrees centigrade as the normal one, but below the 0.6 degrees centigrade there is 0.3 degrees centigrade, but above there is 0.9 degrees centigrade as the above. Hence, types of adiabatic lapse rate. There is two types of adiabatic lapse rate. That is wet saturated adiabatic lapse rate and dry adiabatic lapse rate. Dry adiabatic lapse rate is when air expands and cools at the rate which is greater than the normal. And you have to remember that normal adiabatic lapse rate is the one which is the average between the above and the below. And the below is 0.3 degrees centigrade, and the above is 0.9 degrees centigrade. Therefore, dry adiabatic lapse rate is when air expands and cools at the rate which is greater than the normal lapse rate. And the greater the normal adiabatic lapse rate is 0.9 degrees centigrade. This is called dry. It's called dry adiabatic lapse rate because the air is less dense and it will be easy to be taken or forced with the strong winds up to this area. But wet adiabatic lapse rate is when the air rise and fall below the normal adiabatic lapse rate. Because the air is wet in nature and is just forcing with the strong winds, but it cannot cross the normal and come below the normal and exist because it is consists of dampness or water. That's why it's called wet adiabatic lapse rate.